Hello again, GitKon. That's right, I'm running double duty, and this time I have a talk that is dedicated to Git. Git is full of underused powers, and that is not because devs are lazy or anything like that. It's mostly because Git doesn't really teach us how to explore, unless you're an enterprising individual who takes it upon themselves to explore documentation. So what we're going to do here is we're going to explore together some of the lesser known Git tips that I think will help unlock a new level of productivity for you. And I'm also going to show you how GitKraken Desktop makes some of those even smoother. All right, for our first tip, how do you undo that last commit without losing your work? All right, so we're going to explore this command. So this one helps you undo the last commit and keep everything staged. So let's say you've just committed, but it's too early. Maybe you have the wrong commit message. Something is up and you need to go back. So some devs might try a hard reset, or they might even just say, you know what, I'm just going to reclone this repository because I'm just not sure how to clean this up. Well, there's a clean fix that helps you keep your files exactly as they were, staged and ready to go. And so, yes, here we are. I'm going to type out git reset, and we're going to do soft --soft space and then head tilde, and I'm going to say 1, but this is where you can specify a specific number depending on how far back. In my case, 1 refers to the most recent commit, but I can go further down in my commit history, just count how many commits you want to go down. So this command undoes your last commit, but keeps everything in the staging area. So your code's untouched, your changes are prepped, and you are free to recommit with a better commit message, or maybe you want to stage a few more things, make a few more changes. You just want to change the change set a little bit more. So this is perfect for when you commit too soon or you want to tweak what's about to go in. So think of it like undoing the commit step without necessarily touching your work. So pretty handy. Now, how does git reset compare to git revert? Maybe you were thinking about like, well, I do git revert for some of these things. Well, git revert is better for undoing changes that have already been shared. You've pushed them up to GitLab, to GitHub, to Azure DevOps, whatever, wherever you are sharing or collaborating your code. And git resets --soft is great for local fixes, right? So you still haven't pushed up anything. This is a great command to run to just, again, give you another shot at making a commit. Now, GitKraken Desktop has something similar as well. When you open up a repository, right-click on any commit to access the reset option. And you have a couple different flavors here. And I'm going to choose the one to perform a soft reset. So a soft reset here in GitKraken Desktop does the same thing as what I showed you before. This will remove the commit, but keep your changes staged. And I should note that if you want to go even deeper, all you have to do is just right-click on that commit, and we will reset all the way down to this commit, but place everything in the working directory. So again, it keeps your changes. It removes the commits, but keeps your changes in the working directory and also staged. Okay, so for this next tip, have you ever deleted a branch? Maybe you've reset too far. Something's happened where you've lost commits, and you might think that it's gone forever. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not the case, and you actually have some tools available to you to recover anything you think you might have lost. So here we go. Run git reflog. This is the command. And when you run this command, you'll see a full timeline of your Git actions, even commits that no longer exist when you just run the vanilla Git log. So when you run git reflog, you're seeing a private timeline of everything your head, that's capital HEAD, has pointed to. Even stuff that the Git log will forget. So each entry shows the commit hash, what branches you were on, what action moved head, like checkout, commit, reset, or rebase. And this is where you can locate and find any commits that might have been lost when you deleted a branch or you performed a reset, especially if you were in the detach head state. That's usually one of the key use cases for coming into the Git reflog. You've lost a commit, you don't know where it went, or maybe your commit history is huge and you just need to find a specific commits that maybe you interacted with recently. Git reflog is your tool for that type of recovery. I should say that Git reflog is configurable. It does typically retain actions from the last 30 to 90 days, but again, that's configurable. So just bear in mind, you probably, if you've done it more recently, there's probably a good chance it's still in the Git reflog. So in my case, my story, Git reflog has saved me from botched rebases, deleted branches, and bad resets. To show this, let me go to GitKraken Desktop. I'm going to open a repo, and just right here with the commit graph does an excellent job of showing you the history of your project, right? Because you get to see commit messages, the author, you have an idea for the timeline. Though if you want to go even deeper, click the terminal button in a toolbar, and just like we were doing earlier, run the command git reflog. And here, side by side with your commit graph, you get the same timeline. I like having these side by side since I can copy the SHA from the Git reflog timeline and then just type git checkout. Let me paste in the SHA, the commit ID here, and then I can immediately see the commit graph update when I check out that commit. So there you go. If I'm trying to recover a lost commit, now I can create a branch to officially add this commit to my history. Haha, I have recovered this lost commit. So remember, Git forgets nothing. Always check Git reflog when you think you might have lost something. All right, for this next tip, we're going to talk about Git cherry pick. And we're actually going to talk about a specific nuance when performing the Git cherry pick command. So normally when you Git cherry pick, those changes are immediately applied and committed. But sometimes you might just want to grab the change set from a given commit and you still want to make some additional changes on top of it. Or maybe you're trying to batch together a new set of changes for your feature branch or bug fix or whatever you might be working on. So instead of just using the git cherry pick command by itself, add the flag -n or --n no -commit, and it does exactly what it says here. It'll grab those changes and place them in your working directory. It will not commit those changes. So again, this is great for bringing in the code, but holding the commit. Now, it'd be remiss not to bring up GitKraken Desktop, and we help make this even easier to do. So when you open up a repository in GitKraken Desktop, you can navigate to any commit in the graph and right-click on that commit to access the cherry pick action. And all you have to do is when you select the action, just say no when it asks you whether or not you wish to immediately commit those changes. And then it's the same thing. Those changes will be deposited into your working directory. And from here, you can stage, unstage, make additional modifications in your text editor of choice until you're ready to make those commits. So cherry pick gives you control, but GitKraken helps make it feel more natural. All right, this next tip, who actually wrote the code? So this one was pretty new to me as well. Let's say you want to know who's actually writing code on your team. So Git does track, who is making commits, and it can be a little honest about the whole situation. So you can run the command git short log -sne, and this will be a breakdown of every commit by author with their name, email, and the number of commits. So you'll see who's pushing the most code, who's dropping off, and then who's also maybe secretly crushing it. So it's like commit receipts, sorted and stacked. When I discovered this was something I was curious about just doing across even the open source repos, just to see who's been active or who's been the biggest contributor to a project. Maybe they were more active in the past, but they still might have some knowledge about the project. It just is a tool for you to use so that you can figure out maybe who the best person to contact is about an open source project or perhaps a project within your organization. Now, GitKraken Desktop does show this pretty visually. This is, again, another place where the commit graph shines because all you need to do is open up a repository in GitKraken Desktop and every single commit will show the commit author. When you click on a commit, you'll see details about those authors. But here's one quick tip that I'll leave you with. You can click this gear in the top right corner of the commit graph. And if it's not enabled already, consider checking the box, the option for author. Because when you do that, you do get the ability to filter the commit graph based on authors. And so you can click the filter icon and it'll already kind of give you an idea for who is here already, especially if they're in your GitKraken organization. But one quick thing you can do is if you already know the name of an author, you're curious to see what they've been doing recently, just start typing the name of that author, select them, and then GitKraken Desktop will highlight their commits in the commit graph. So it's a way of spotlighting contributions that that author has made throughout the history of the commit graph, and just keep scrolling to kind of see what the scale of those contributions are. Select a commit to review the changes, explore away. All right, for this next tip, your stash isn't a junk drawer. Don't just place stashes in there and forget about them. We can definitely make use of stashes a little bit more efficiently with this next tip. Did you know that you can pop or apply a specific stash from your list? Git actually numbers each stash by time, and with the newest stash at curly braces 0. So this just means you're not stuck popping the most recent stash every time. You can target exactly what you need. So we're going to run the command git stash list to see all saved changes. And then we're going to use the command git stash pop space stash at, and then the number of how far back you want to go in the index. And this will apply that stash and remove it from the list. But if you want to keep it for later, maybe you don't feel like popping the stash, you can instead type out git stash apply. Same result, but the stash will stay intact and you can reapply those changes later. Okay, so there you go. We did it. We were able to explore the list and apply a certain stash from that list. But what I love here is that GitKraken Desktop actually makes this even easier. And for those of you who are already users, you probably already know where I'm going. So let's open up GitKraken Desktop. And when you open up a repository, let's say you have some changes in your working directory, you can navigate over to the toolbar to access the stash action, and this will stash your changes. Quick pro tip here, if you type into the whip before you hit the button, this will allow you to name that stash. And then also similarly, if I were to stage some changes over in the commit panel, maybe I have tons and tons of changes and I want to stash only a subset of those changes, I can stage and then move over to the stash button over here, the stash tab, I should say. And same idea here, you can name your stash before you create it. This then will create stashes in your commit graph. So here we have stashes in the commit graph, and also the stash list will be available in the commit panel, in the left panel. So the left panel will have a list of your stashes, and these are, interactive. You can right click on any of these stashes, either in the commit graph or in the left panel, and access the options to pop or apply. And there's some bonus actions here as well, which I encourage you to explore. I have 2 bonus items here, and the first one is for any of our Git CLI experts. So you're someone who's put in the time to learn all of the commands that you need inside the terminal. You're a wizard. I believe in your abilities, but we did build something just for you. It's called the GitKraken CLI. So what the GitKraken CLI does, and I have it here open. Let me type in GK. So here's a nice welcome message from the GitKraken CLI. It can do many things. It could interact with your workspaces, but what I want to focus on for today's tip is that you have the ability to start work on a feature or bug and you can track changes across multiple repositories. So that's the big boost that you get from using the GitKraken CLI inside of your favorite terminal. You can begin work on a feature and keep adding repos as you are interacting with, various places that you need to go to address an overall thing you're trying to accomplish. So to show you what I mean, I'm going to do GK work start. So, I need to specify branch. GK work start new branch. So I'm currently in the support.gitkraken.com repository. When I run this command, it's going to start both a work item and it's going to create a brand new branch and check that branch out. This branch is called new branch. I'm going to hit enter. It's initializing the work item for support.gitkraken.com. The new branch is created. If I do a quick git branch, I can see that, yep, there it is. A new branch has been created and it has been checked out. Really, really cool. Now, let's say I want to add a repository to, right now it's just the support.gitkraken.com repo. Let's say I want to add this one, this GitKraken Desktop docs repository. It says I don't have a remote. Let me add a different one here. I love demos, right? GitLens. I think this one has something similar as well. All right, we did it. So we added the GitLens repository to this work item, and I can, again, create a branch here, do some work. So I'm going to simulate as though I've gone off camera. I've done some changes. I'm doing something a little bit here off camera. Okay, so now I'm in the support.gitkraken.com change. Basically, I popped a stash off screen, off camera here. And let me just make sure that there are some changes here. Yep. Okay, so I have a modified file that I've dropped into my working directory. Let's just assume that I've made tons of changes across different repositories. How do I commit all of those things at once? Well, thanks to the GitKraken CLI, I can use the command gk work commit, and I'm going to do the flag --AI so that it inserts a commit message for me automatically. So here it go. It's committing the change, and it did it. I have GitKraken Desktop off to my other screen over here, so I do see that the commit was successfully created. Let's do a git status just to see that, yep, I am indeed still in the new branch. Those changes that we saw up here have indeed been committed. All right, for my final tip, I did want to do a quick and very brief shout out to the GitKraken MCP. GitKraken MCP gives you the power of accessing all the integrations that you've connected with GitKraken. So we're talking about connections to your pull requests, connections to your issues, and just general Git goodness. And it's all available through VS Code, Cursor, Windsurf, and a bunch of other really cool text editors. In the example that I have right here, I am inside of VS Code. I've already installed the GitKraken MCP, but just to show you, I'm going to switch over to agent mode. I'm going to click on this tools icon down here. And if I scroll all the way down, I can see all of the actions that are available within the, let me update the tool here. There we go. Expand the list. Yes. So look at this. I can do git blame, git push, git status, and I have access to my issues. I can see, I can add comments. I can grant permissions to get issue details or interact with my pull requests. So all of that can be had just by talking to your favorite agent within, so in this case, within VS Code, and you can perform all sorts of really cool actions right from within VS Code or Cursor or Windsurf. So the way to get started is, so when you install the latest version of GitLens, the MCP, GitKraken MCP comes bundled with it. So all you have to do is just make sure that, so in my case, let me do Command-Shift-P. If you do a search for GitLens, GitKraken MCP, you'll see the option to install the MCP if you don't have it installed already. So give it a go explore. You will unlock a whole bunch of powers that you didn't have before. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed these 6 Git tips. I hope some of these were fresh and new and something that you're willing to give a try. Now, if you're looking for a Git refresher, we do offer a Fundamentals of Git course, and it's available on learn.gitkraken.com. It's perfectly free, and you get the benefit of seeing a younger version of me go through the basics of Git. And if you want to try any of the tips that I demonstrated today on GitKraken Desktop, you can head over to gitkraken.com/download to get the version for Windows, Linux, or Mac. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of GitKon and stay legendary.